if you're approaching any disagreement like something one of you's going to win, one of you's going to lose, you both have lost. Because in marriage, you're on the same team, you're in the same huddle, you're going to win together or lose together. And we had to really realize that this isn't one of us winning, one of us losing. Like, we need to find a way that both of us can win every time. We want to help each other win. We want to help each other be at our best. And when we started taking that approach, we started winning.
We got Dave and Ashley Willis back in the studio with us. It's going to be a good day.
Experts at so many things.
Especially on this one. I'm guessing you guys are experts on this. Every relationship, every marriage, every family has something they bring in, and it's called conflict. Every relationship at some point has confrontations and conflict, right?
Oh, yes.
That's why you're here. You're the experts on this.
We've deemed you the expert.
We chose you out of everybody in the world.
You two are our experts. Like,
That's right. We look to you.
We just learn from you guys, and then we plagiarize what you say, and we go out into the world, and we try to say in a slightly different way.
Oh, my goodness.
That's right. Dave and Ashley Willis, our friends, are here, and we're going to have a great conversation because every couple needs to know, what do we do when we're in this rut?
Well, every couple has conflict. Very few know how to resolve it.
Exactly.
So one of the first things that we learned, and we didn't learn until after we were married, and we should have known this before, but you bring in a style, you bring in a pattern of how you do conflict into your marriage.
Oh, sure.
What are yours?
Well, I kind of put Dave through the ringer. Out of the gate. Okay. And what's so funny? So Dave and I met in a communications class because we both were communications majors.
You guys you have a lot of similarities.
We really do.
We're basically the same person. It's
my goodness.
No, we have a lot of differences too. We have a lot in common, but there are a lot of differences.
There are a lot of differences, but we met in communications class. Dave's a couple years ahead of me, but we kind of were naive in thinking, oh, well, we have degrees in communication. We don't need to pay attention in our premarital class on communication, right? And God just burst that bubble real fast because very soon into our marriage, I realized that our dynamic wasn't working because what I would do is play mind games with Dave. I was of the belief that if he loved me enough, he would figure out my cues and just know what I needed and wanted.
That always works.
And I did
Look
Jedi
at Dave's
mind
face
tricks.
is weary.
It was weary.
Horrible. I would do things.
I blame Hallmark for this.
It was Hallmark. It was.
Because in all of the Hallmark movies, the girl falls in love with the sexy lumberjack from her hometown, and that guy always knows what she's thinking. It's like he just knows. And then girls watch the Hallmark movies, and they're like, well, Chad from the Hallmark movie would know what I'm thinking. And it's not real life. So, it was very confusing. It was a confusing time.
Chad the lumberjack.
and
Madison, the big city girl that comes back to her hometown. It's always the same plot.
I thought he would be like Chad. And so I just would, Dave would be very sweet and come to me. And let's give an example. He would be like, hey, the guys are getting together to watch the game on Thursday night. Are we doing anything? Because I just wanted to check in with you to see if that'd be okay. And I would just look at him. I would give him this weird look. And I don't know, I totally repent of this, but I would give you a weird look and I'd be like, do what you want to do. Okay, it's a test. It's the kiss of death.
So I would do what I wanted to do. I took it as an invitation.
He said it.
And
I know.
It wasn't an invitation, it was a test.
And he'd come home from the game, and I'd be so mad.
And he's so happy. He had so much fun.
Thank you, sweetie. Thanks for letting me go. That was great.
So, Ashley, were you just cold?
Yes, I was totally cold, and I was trying to let my nonverbals and my
right. So I'd ask her, "Are you okay?" And she'd be like, "I'm fine."
I'm fine.
And you're like, well, I guess she's fine. I mean,
she said she's fine.
Yes,
I had no clue about nonverbals.
I would punish him a little bit with just being cold, and then eventually, of course, because he's like, "What in the world is going on?" We'd end up in kind of a little tiff, and I would be like, "You went to the game," and he's like, you said do what you want to do.
It was so confusing.
We didn't have anything, and I'm like, but you didn't choose me. I mean, it's basically what I was saying without actually asking for anything I actually needed and wanted. And so we realized very quickly, we need to handle this differently. I can't use Jedi mind tricks on him. I need to actually say what I need from you and actually use words and not just have him play this guessing game all the time.
Are you more of an avoider of conflict?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, yes, to a fault. And really, looking back, I was that way in my own family. And really, the way my family often would handle conflict was the cold shoulder and it was the punishing. And that was just how it was. And so I just thought, well, this is what you do. And the more somebody figures it out, the more they love you. And I mean, it's just so silly,
You're
you know?
doomed to fail.
I mean, exactly.
I know.
Now, what'd you bring in?
I married into this family, and I'm just like, I don't know, because I came from family where it was just everything was very literal. Like if you said you're fine, it was all boys. There was no nuance.
Dave, this is my family.
Yeah.
We said whatever we thought.
We already said it. I said I was fine. I'm fine. Like I was so literal that she would say things like, "We need to mow the yard," and
we,
and it would confuse me because I would think, how are we going to mow the yard? I mean, like, that's a one-man job, but I thought maybe she wants us to do it together. Maybe like she wants us both to have like one hand on the lawnmower and to have this like bonding time. So I would wait. I would just wait, and the grass would get taller, and she would say, "Why isn't the yard mowed?" I was like, I thought we were going to do it. And she said, no, when I say we need to mow the yard, I mean, you need to mow the yard. I'm like, oh, okay, I got it.
Just say it.
Just tell me.
Just say that makes much more sense. But, you know, if you say we, I'm going to think you meant we.
Literal.
Like, I was that literal.
Yeah.
And so,
And then, Dave, are you okay with bringing up something if it needs to be talked about?
well, this is the problem.
We had a lot.
That's a bad way
We've
to
had a
start
lot
the
to
sentence.
work
Right, this is a problem. Is that both early on, I would say both of us were avoiders, you know,
Yep.
and that's not a great recipe for dealing with stuff because you just sort of, both of us kind of got in this habit where we just would try to avoid stuff that needed to be addressed. And neither one would take the lead. It would just come out in these passive aggressive ways. So essentially we both had the same unhealthy communication style when it came to conflict resolution until it would just come to a head. And then it was kind of emotionally charged. And so over time, we've gotten a lot better about just being clear, addressing stuff before it becomes a big issue. We've gotten better with time, but early on, man, we were bad. We were just bad at it. And so,
Well, and something I would do like that was also just not being totally honest with you and trying to have you figure out things is I would tell Dave, like he would be ready to leave to go to work in the morning. And I would be like, have a great day. And by the way, we need to talk later. Like that's what I would leave him with. And I would have this thing prepared.
Does that mean you're in trouble?
I mean, he didn't know.
It would ruin the day.
I wouldn't even give a clue.
Like what?
What did you mean by that?
Sometimes it would be good. Sometimes it would be not so good. I mean, we didn't have cell phones to text and give a hint. Nothing.
What is that? What could that possibly mean? Gee, we need to talk. We need to talk.
Yes, and he would go all day.
I think about it all day, sweating and
Yes.
Sometimes it was nothing, and sometimes it was something. But I say, just tell me. Like, give me a heads up. Give me time to process what it is going to be about. And I'll think about it.
But then we would get to the point where he'd finally come, and he would look sweaty and like worried, and we'd sit down and talk, and then I would talk about something serious that had been really on my mind, and I'd bring it to him, and then at the end of it, he would just look at me with this blank stare, and I would be like, "Well, do you have anything to say about that?" And he'd be like, I don't know. And I'd be like, do you even care? And he's like, of course I care. I just need time to think about this. And then I would get really upset because I'm like, well, you don't even care. And he would kind of walk away and I would walk away, and it was just a mess. And so what I realized though, is that I'm more of a verbal processor and Dave is more of an internal processor. And I just wasn't giving him the time. First of all, I'm giving him this terrible buildup and not a clue of what we actually need to talk about. So he could come up with something to say and to really process it and pray about it. But also when I would say something, I just didn't realize that he needed time. Because he's not me, right? And even just as a woman, I have more neurons for language and learning than a man does, right? And so we can go, thing. Right? And it's a real thing. It's not intelligence. It's just a wiring. And, men, that's why most men need to take a minute to maybe go on a walk and think about it, or go on a drive and think about it, or just have some little inkling about what it's about. And once I realized that, we found a language to really bring out the best in each other. And so like nowadays it looks like us saying, I don't do the we need to talk. I'll be like, sweetie, hey, XYZ happened. I really want to talk about that later. So can you be thinking about that? Because I want us to kind of come to some solution, resolution, whatever it is. And he'd be like, yes, sounds good. And we'd pick an actual time and we would talk about it at that time. Now, if we couldn't do it at that time, we would make sure that we set another time so we don't leave each other hanging.
But I knew what it's about.
Yes.
And so she was helping me play to my strengths because, like,
You could process
I
it.
could process
Yes.
it. And then just like strength finder stuff, strategy is like one that I enjoy. If I have a problem and have time, like adequate time to really think about strategic ways to meet that problem, then I feel like I can actually win here instead of just all at once being kind of thrown something and having in real time to kind of like process it and the emotion of it and everything else. So it's just helping your spouse win instead of trying to. If you're approaching any disagreement like something one of you is going to win, one of you is going to lose, you both have lost. Because in marriage, you're on the same team, you're in the same huddle, you're going to win together or lose together. And we had to really realize that this isn't one of us winning, one of us losing. Like we need to find a way that both of us can win every time. And we want to help each other win. We want to help each other be at our best. And when we started taking that approach, we started winning.
I like that because we went through that same thing where I'm a verbal processor. I'm sharing every single thing that's going on in my head. I look at Dave like, so what do you think? Like, what do you think about that? What do you feel? There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I'm like, and I say the same thing. Ashley, like, do you feel anything? He goes,
I didn't know what I felt yet.
Right.
I hadn't been able to process it.
and to me, that felt like, well, then you're not even listening or you don't care, which isn't fair at all. I had no idea the processing thing. Because the next day he'd come in, he has all kinds of thoughts, all kinds of ideas.
Usually took me a night.
Right.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Right.
You know? Not always, but usually it took me a while.
Right. Because timing is everything. And this is something I learned the hard way because I'm a
Me
night
too.
owl and Dave is not. Okay. Dave's really a midday person. I didn't know it existed till we got married. But some people really peak
He's
at
not
3.
good in the morning. He's not good at
Yeah.
night. He's good
But
in the
midday,
afternoon.
He is midday.
I got
Watch
a
all the
30-minute
way.
window around 3 p.m. where I'm ready to change the world. But that's about it.
He really is. Like
That's
he's
it.
so
Yeah.
thriving. But
I
that's
start low, I end low. There's
So hit it in the middle.
hit it in the middle. Yeah.
But what's funny, and I think God has a sense of humor, is my lowest like capacity, energy level of the day is midday.
The same
It's
time.
4:00.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm literally
With a
like,
mom, 4:00, we can barely make it.
yes. I mean, it's so
Yeah,
true.
God has a sense of humor. So I don't try to change her by saying like, yeah, let's go mountain climb at 3 p.m. And she does, and she's learned to at 10 p.m. not initiate a deep conversation because we're in two completely different places. I mean, she's in peak mental capacity.
And she's
I'm-
been grinding on this.
Yeah,
yes.
she's ready.
Yes.
It's
I
early in
know,
the
I do
marriage.
this.
She would
I do
just,
this too.
She would start in, and I'm like laying there like in a coma, and she's just wanting to solve these massive issues, and I'm just like, sweetie, I love you. I cannot
us.
think right now. And at first she'd be offended, like you don't care, and I'm like, I just can't.
I can't
This
form
is
a
my
thought.
rhythm. Like,
I would even say, how can you fall asleep?
Yes.
Like, God wants us. I'd put the God card in.
Yes.
God wants us to resolve this. He goes,
Tomorrow.
I can't keep my eyes open.
yeah, I want to be fully rested for this.
Right.
You know, and it's not that either of you's wrong. One's like, this is so important, we need to deal with it now. And the other one's like, I can't think straight. I want to be rested when I deal with this. Both those are legitimate.
You think it's okay to go to bed with an issue?
Welcome to Family Lives, Marriage After Dark. We are Dave and Ashley Willis.
The topic is going to be absolutely incredible. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about orgasms, climaxes, foreplay, hygiene, who initiates fantasies in the bedroom. What do we do when sex isn't working? We're going to talk about all of it. I have not been this excited in a long time.
Let's get into it. It's time for Pillow Talk, Dave.
Yes. I love pillow talk.
Can you go to bed and talk about it tomorrow?
Well, I mean, the Bible does say, don't let the sun go down on your anger. I don't see that so much as saying a commandment that like every issue has to be resolved before you're allowed to go to sleep, because we would never sleep. There's some
Right.
things
That's true.
that you're going to have to, what I think more that's doing is like saying our anger is meant to have a very short shelf life. Like we're not meant to live in a state of anger. Even when Jesus expressed righteous anger, it was always like very specifically applied, in not in extended bouts of just rage or simmering anger. It was, him flipping the tables over as an outward expression of an injustice that was happening that needed to stop. And then, and then that moment passed. But if we're living with anger, that's a whole different issue. Like that's a heart issue more than a specific conflict issue, and really a whole different conversation. And we need to do counseling or do the work to get to the root of why that anger is persisting. I think as it comes to issues in marriage, sometimes we're not going to every single day come to full resolution about these complex issues that you're going to face in marriage, where you can hit the bed at night and say, all right, there's absolutely nothing, no issue of any kind until tomorrow. There are going to be things, ongoing things. That's just life. So talk about things. Don't let them get bigger than they need to be, but also be okay of saying, you know what? We can sleep, rest in peace tonight, knowing that God's bigger than what we're facing. This is in His hands. We're going to keep chipping away at this and talking about this, but we're not going to stay up for a week straight feeling like we're not allowed to sleep until we have some kind of resolution.
And I think sometimes sleep is the very thing someone needs,
Yes.
okay? And I know I've learned this because I used to believe that you could not go to bed angry, and I would really push Dave on this, and
Me
I
too.
realized I'm not even bringing out the best in him. Like he really just needs some rest, and I probably need rest too. But the way to handle that is to not let it keep on going. I think that's where a lot of couples go wrong is they're like, okay, well, we're going to sleep on this, but they never agree on a time they're going to talk about it. And so I always tell couples, like, you need to agree. Like, you can go to bed, but you need to agree and actually write it down and say, tomorrow at 11 a.m., we're going to talk about this. We're going to have coffee, and we're going to be mentally ready for that. We're going to prepare, say a prayer before. We're going to be ready to talk about this, but right now we're going to go to sleep. And I think that alone can bring peace to the person who really wanted to discuss it right then, because they know it's not just going to get thrown, under the rug. Because I think that's the fear, is that, it's just another thing we're adding to the list of things that never go resolved. And a lot of couples live this way. I mean, I've been really surprised in working with couples through counseling, how many couples will go a week, like a solid week, without barely talking.
Ashley,
it happens all the time.
I've seen the same thing. And I just saw a couple the other day. I'm like, you can tell that there's this simmering frustration, resentment.
Oh, yes.
You can feel it. And and I thought, like, these guys have had ongoing unresolved issues.
Yes.
I don't think a lot of people know what to do with it because
They
there's
don't.
so many that they haven't resolved. How would they even begin, and where would they begin? What do you think?
I kind of look at it, to borrow a Dave Ramsey metaphor from the finance world, which, helped us when one of our conflicts was about money early on, because we were broke and in debt and all of that stuff, and we didn't know what we were doing. And so having a template like debt snowball, pay off the smallest debt and then work up to the next smallest debt and all that, I think that same principle can apply for these unresolved issues. When you look at, in our case, the financial debt that had gotten so big, and you look at it all at once, it just seems overwhelming, and you think, what's the point? It just feels like the national debt clock, trillions of dollars. Its number's so big we can't even imagine it. Just let it get bigger and whatever. And I think some people live that way. But with the issues you're facing in your marriage, look at them, smallest ones first, maybe, and say, let's tackle this one and get a win under our belt, and then let that snowball, and then let's tackle the next one and get that win under our belt, and keep moving forward little by little, chipping away at this and celebrating the wins along the way, knowing that some of these issues don't even have to do with each other.
Exactly.
I mean, this is maybe trauma from our childhood. This is, issues that are deeply rooted within us, that it took years for them to get where they are. It is going to probably take years for them to fully find healing, but we're going to keep moving in that direction and not beat ourselves up that, it's this huge mountain we're going to climb. We're going to say, hey, we're taking steps up that mountain today, and tomorrow we'll take some more steps, and we're going to celebrate those wins little by little.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of time left, but a big issue in conflict is a word we all know: forgiveness. Discuss that. Have you had to forgive? How do you forgive? I mean, couples are carrying bitterness maybe for days, weeks, months, decades. And at some point, you've got to learn, you've got to bring God in and say, I've got to forgive her. I got to forgive him. You've talked about even the porn thing before in your marriage. How does a couple get to a place where they can forgive one another?
You know, one of my favorite quotes says, holding a grudge is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. And so I look at unforgiveness the same way, just holding on to these things because in some way, I think we're convinced, and this is a lie from the enemy, but we're convinced that if we let it go, then we're letting them off the hook. But we have to remember that God is a just God, and we have natural consequences in place, and we have to give it to the Lord and say, God, you deal with my spouse and whatever it is that they did. I am hurt, but I'm going to let this go in the sense of knowing that you're dealing with them personally, and it's not my job to have to hold this over their head. And in fact, it's not a burden I'm even meant to bear, right? Because we can't walk freely and we can't even love freely in the way that our spouse really needs us to in order for them to get the healing they need and to make amends. And I think too, as a culture, we misunderstand that forgiveness and trust are two different things. I think a lot of times we don't fully forgive because we can't trust yet, but forgiveness and trust are two different things. Forgiveness is only given, right? Because God first forgave us, but trust has to be earned. We don't just willy-nilly give trust. It has to be earned over time with consistency and where our words and actions are consistent over time. And Dave did that with the porn issue that we've talked about on here before. But even in smaller things, like being willing to say, yeah, you know, that didn't go right and that hurt me. What you said hurt me. But I'm going to give this to God, and I want us to do better. And when we show each other that we believe we can do better, you can rebuild that trust slowly over time. But I think it's just important that we try to seek forgiveness and we try to apologize quickly and then accept that forgiveness, because it's important that we don't allow things like that to come between us. And I do think couples live for decades like this, almost kind of holding it over each other's head and keeping tabs. And it's just not healthy. And it creates that undercurrent of resentment you talked about, Ann.
Yeah. And I think that you can just tell that there's resentment toward each other and they don't like each other.
Right.
You can see it like as they get older, they just don't really care to be around each other or like each other, because we all drift toward isolation.
Yes.
But we can all move back, and it's never too late to do that.
Right.
This has been rich. Thanks, you guys. Hey, thanks for watching. And if you like this episode,
You better like it.
just hit that like button.
And we'd like you to subscribe. So all you got to do is go down and hit the subscribe. I can't say the word subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I don't think I can say this word.
Like and subscribe.
Look at that. You say it so easy. Subscribe. There it goes.